J.C. Newman Cigar Studios in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Smokin Tobacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Smokin Nicole.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tobacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTobacco.com. I am joined once again by my very beautiful fiance, Smokin Nicole. And tonight we want to welcome on a very special guest. We have with us Mr. Bradley Rubin of Alec Bradley. Bradley, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Nicole, and thank you, Matthew, for having me on your show for the first time.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here with us. We got to meet you and kind of get to know you a little bit at PCA earlier this year, and we had a great time, and I wanted to have you on the show. I'm glad we could finally do it. Tonight, we are smoking Alec Bradley. As the guest, I will let you start us off with what you are smoking.
I'm smoking the Alec and Bradley Kintsugi, which is the third release from me and my brother, Alec.
Interesting. Good cigar. Really good cigar. Nicole and I are both smoking the Trilogy.
Yes.
I am smoking the Authentic Corojo, and you are smoking the Maduro.
Yes, that is correct.
Sorry, I had to keep mine lit. It was starting to go out.
I was like, what are you?
There we go.
But
It's good. It's burning good. Very flavorful. Now, it's such an interesting cigar, too. The Trilogy, it's like a three-sided press, which is very unique. It's not something that almost. I think they rounded out a little bit when they were in the bundle. But yeah, no, it's a very unique cigar. I know that the cigar isn't necessarily new. It has been released before. I believe the last time it came out was 2002. Am I right?
Yeah, if that, not far off, maybe the latest 2005 or 6, but it's been gone for over a decade easily, maybe 12 to like 15 years. So you're not far off. So yeah, this is the newest release, which we tried to replicate the blend. The tobaccos aren't the same because those tobaccos aren't available anymore. But this was our attempt at trying to get it as close to as possible with my father and our vice president just trying to remember what it was like and recreating it.
Now, tell me a little bit more about the inspiration for this cigar. I know that these cigars were released in a box together. Like all three were in like one box together. So was the original release like that? Was it different? Was it one blend? Like what was the kind of the difference between the old versus the new?
So the old versus the new. The old ones were, I think, in boxes of 20, and they were like these really cheap, almost like cardboard flip boxes, and but like very colorful. So like if you have the Corojo and it's green, the box was bright green, bright orange, or all red. My dad wanted to make something that on a shelf would really stand out. So when we re-released this, the box that you're talking about was released specifically for Smoke In. We did a Robusto sampler where you can get 6 of each cigar. And we did 300 boxes of those. And then for the Toro size, which you guys are smoking, we released these press boxes. So it's made to look like a mold. And so when you open it, it's got the triangle up here to like give it that feel of the mold. And then this part comes out right here. And so does this back one. And then you can close it up and see the cigars through like it's a mold in the factory.
Oh, very, very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah, so it's got a nice weight to it. We kind of burn the top a little bit, so each one has its own kind of like charcoal
rustic
texture to it. Yeah. So each one is unique in its own way. Everyone all of them have their own grain. That's going to make it look different.
That's really cool. I mean, if there was a contest or an award for packaging of the year, that would be close to the top
I feel
of my
like
list.
people are starting to like kind of break the molds with boxes. I feel like we're seeing more and more like unique shapes and
no
things.
pun intended.
Okay,
No pun
okay,
intended,
no pun. Just went over my head.
Break the mold. No, it's true. It's funny. Coop and I kind of talked about this on Spare Notes. I want to say a few episodes back. Yeah, you're seeing some different stuff coming from the manufacturers in terms of packaging, not just like the bands and stuff like that, which are getting more and more elaborate. for example, like the Rocky Patel 60. That cigar is almost entirely covered in just bands. Not a paper sleeve, not a ribbon, like all like bands.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
It's like a Christmas present.
Yeah.
Break it apart.
And it's just like, it looks cool and it's awesome. And if anyone's going to pull it off, I feel like it's Rocky Patel, but it's like at the same time, you have to rip half them off before you can even smoke it. So it's like, it's kind of like a waste, but it's cool, I guess. Yeah. Boxes too. Boxes, you're seeing a lot of interesting designs. A lot of, not just like with the colors and and like the pattern and stuff like that, but also like the shapes and like how they open and like just people thinking, for a lack of a better term, with no pun intended, thinking more outside of the box and making them more, almost like more humidor-like. Some of them are just, they're too nice to throw away.
Or just more interesting to look at. Some of them are humidors in their own right.
That's
of course,
true too, and some of them are humidors that the cigars do get released in. I mean, like perfect example, like Room 101, Matt Booth just released the Namakubi, and it came, and I actually got one.
There were two options.
There was two. There was the standard box of 10, and then there was like the long coffin, and inside it was individual coffins.
It's called a casket.
Oh, a casket.
It is a casket with coffins in it.
That's what it is.
Yeah. That's what we're all trying to do is, we all make great cigars, but how do you set yourself apart from the rest? And that includes packaging. So like I'm smoking the Kintsugi and I have the box here. And I think this is one of the best boxes we've ever done. But if you don't know, Kintsugi is the art of repairing bowls or plates, broken bowls or plates with gold lacquer. So we tried to make it that the gold runs all the way through. So it looks, we tried to make it look as seamless as possible. It may not always work, but as if it's one piece that's been put back together. And I think a lot of people are doing it really, really well right now.
See, that's a really sharp looking box.
I
like that. You know what else? You know what else I really like is the Gatekeeper. It's just so like, it's so Romanesque. You know what I mean? Like it's so. I like that one too. And the cigar was great too, which I had mentioned before. Which is a new factory. We saw that at PCA this year as well, with the Gatekeeper. Really good cigar. If you guys haven't had it, go find it at your local brick and mortar retailer. Always support local. But if not, you can always check out 2guyscigars.com. That's the number 2, guyscigars.com. Now, so tell me, all right, so let's back up a little bit. So we're getting a little excited over everything that's going on here. At what point did you kind of get involved in the cigar business? And what point did you kind of start working with your dad and your brother and all that? Where do you fit into the Alec Bradley kind of timeline?
Mm-hmm. So I started in 2017. I graduated from University of Central Florida, and about a month or two later, I started working at Alec Bradley right before the PCA, or I think back then it was IPCPR trade show. And it was they just kind of threw me into the role. I think we had just stopped working with a marketing company, and they're like, "You're young, social media," and I was like, "I don't think I do." And so like, well, you're gonna be doing this because we don't have anyone to do it. So I started doing that, and I figured very quickly that the best way that I could impact Alec Bradley was to travel. People want to see a face of the company. They want to see someone like Jonathan Carney or others, people that they may not be, the person that started the brand, but an extension of the brand. And so I started to travel, and people, my first trade show, 2 weeks in, people wanted me to do interviews about cigars that I knew nothing about. I knew nothing of tobacco at the time. And they're like, we were just coming out with Prensado Lost Art and Black Market Esteli. My first interview was from the biggest retailer in all of Germany. And they started off their intro in German. And I was like, this is going to be so bad. And I stuttered the entire way through. I was making up names of tobacco, and it was awful. But I started to travel and do events, and people wanted to meet me. And that quickly became my role, was traveling to do events.
Willkommen. Das ist einer Bradley Rubin von Alec und Bradley.
No, not yet.
Matthew is half German. So
I won't put you through that. Don't worry.
Interview. And will start stuttering like crazy if you start interviewing me in German.
Yeah, no. So, again, it's another common theme with the cigar industry. It's such a family-oriented business. Alec and Bradley, obviously, for those who haven't realized it yet or don't know, comes from the names of you and your brother Alec that your dad put together to form Alec Bradley. But what's interesting is that you and your brother now kind of formed your own little thing of Alec and Bradley. So kind of tell me, when did that kind of come into play?
So about a year after I started working, maybe a year and a half, I went to my father, and we had been down to the factory a couple times, and I talked to Alec. Well, I talked to Alec first, and I was like, hey, like, what if we start doing our own cigars? People commonly think that our father is Alec Bradley. They don't know the story of the company. This might be a way for people to know who we are, what we like to smoke, and the brands that we make, the lines we make, are extension of us. So this is a great way for people to know the brand better and know our story better, because it's so common that our father Alan is called Alec Bradley. People don't know. So they both loved it, and we were working on names and thinking of stuff, and I'm like, why don't we just call it Alec and Bradley? And they're like, isn't that maybe a little confusing? And I'm like, yeah, but I think if they see Alec and Bradley, they will be confused, but they'll look it up, or they'll ask their local tobacconist and say, what's going on here, and explain the story of our company. So we started off with our first cigar, Blind Faith, because people need to have blind faith in us. Our father did, our salespeople did, our Alec Bradley fans did. They need to have blind faith in us that we could make a good cigar. So that was our first one. And then we went to the Gatekeeper, which we originally made with the legendary Ernesto Perez Carrillo. Mm-hmm. We felt that Ernesto was the gatekeeper, that after we made the cigar, that Ernesto would open up the gates for us, and that it would take us on a new path, which is kind of exactly what happened. People fell in love with the cigar, and then we got the big rating on last year's top 25 list, and people went crazy for it. And then the newest release was the Kintsugi, which is by far my favorite and like my baby, and I love it so much. So we're now on our third release, and a lot of people have been taken to it. So it's been fun to kind of put your own stuff out there and see how people react. Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not so good, but it means a lot when people say that they love our cigars.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's a conversation piece that we've talked about on this show and a lot of other shows. People forget, like, these cigars that get introduced, and this kind of goes back to the whole, like, it's a very family-oriented business, right? Lots of these brands are family companies. They're not, with the exception of, like the big four being, big corporation, most of these brands, like your brand and so many others that you share shelf space with, right? All family brands. These are people who are blending and making these cigars and aging them and packaging them and doing all of this with their name on it, and they put it out there. And it's why you really got to be careful when you, especially in the media, when you go to knock a cigar that maybe you didn't like, you can't just trash it and be like, this cigar sucks. Because you know what? It's not going to suck to everybody, but the most important thing is that's someone's baby. Like you said, like someone actually spent, it's not a few weeks, it's not even a few months, it's a few years putting that cigar out. It takes years to bring a brand or a line to fruition. It takes years. You have to plant that tobacco, you have to plant it all out, grow it, age it, ferment it, then you got to create the blend and roll it and all of this. And by the time it gets to the shot, it's been years. So you go through all that process. You go through all that effort, the money, the time, for someone to be like, well, the Kintsugi, it really wasn't that great of a cigar. It was just kind of poor. And it's like, well, maybe that's how you feel. But, there's other ways of saying like, hey, you know what? This didn't hit my palate right. But you know what? It's a great cigar. And that's why you always, you got to keep that in mind, because people do get offended and stuff, but at the same time, sometimes they have a right to, like you said. I think you said that really well, and I just really wanted to touch on that. So I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but...
No, you're good.
But you do.
You said exactly what we all think, and, I appreciate that. And, But everyone has the right to their own opinion, and if they want to trash it, that's their prerogative. But if I said that word right, but
I think you
yeah,
did.
yeah, if they want to trash it, that's okay. But I agree that if you're going to review or if you're the media, everyone's got their own palate. So if it's trashing a cigar and saying it's not for anyone, it hurts your credibility.
I think the best way is kind of like, and I won't get into any specifics, but like I was just saying to you, there was a particular cigar I tried that I still liked, but there was one part of it that I didn't like. And I mentioned that to you. I was like, this cigar was good, and it was great quality and great construction. Only thing I didn't like was this on the beginning. But after that, it tapered down, and then it was kind of back in my wheelhouse. That's like really the best way you should describe anything you don't like. Because it's never really like, oh, the whole cigar was trash. Well, no. Most of the time, it's one part that you didn't like, and then you would just assume that the whole cigar was ruined. And that's usually not the case. And then you end up trashing the whole thing.
Yeah, but also, like, it wouldn't have bothered me that you said it was black market. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, just because, and like you said, it was only the beginning. Like, you're not trashing it. You're just saying at the beginning it wasn't for me, but then it got much better. But, I would have been more than fine if you were just like, yeah, black market was the cigar I was talking about. No,
I don't want to put anyone on the spot,
Yeah, it's not. That's the thing. It's not putting anyone on the spot. This is part of what you guys do.
Yeah.
That's what you guys do, is talking about cigars and whether or not it is or isn't for you, or the flavors that you get and what you did or didn't like about it. That's what you guys do. So I can't be offended that, whatever your thoughts are on a cigar, those are your thoughts.
It's part of products in general. Not everyone likes everything.
That's true, and you can't like everything. And I think that's such a true and very important thing to remember for no matter what it is, whether it's food or cigars or wine or whiskey, or you're gonna find stuff you're like, it just doesn't taste good to me.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's gonna taste good to someone else. We're like, I don't like rye. I've tried it. I can't get in bed with rye. I'm bourbon, like, that's it.
All the way through and through.
Yeah, but people love rye, and that's okay, and I respect that. I don't hate rye. I don't think it's bad. It's just not for me. It's just, I'm like, it's not my flavor profile. I just don't like rye. It's kind of like the same concept. So it was a good opportunity to bring that up because it's always important. Let's hit our news segment really quick.
Yeah, let's switch over.
Our news segment this week is once again brought to you by our friends at McAuliffeCigars.com. If you head over to McAuliffe, I said that backwards. Our friends at McAuliffe Cigars. If you head over to McAuliffeCigars.com, you can sign up to be an official ambassador, where you can get your ambassador number, your ambassador coin. While you're at it, pick up a McAuliffe tasting passport. And if you submit it back to McAuliffe, you get entered in to win some really cool prizes. This week, you look like you're going to say something.
No.
Oh, sorry.
I was.
I didn't want to cut you off.
That's fine.
This week, our news comes to you from our friends at J.C. Newman. They have announced plans for a hotel, restaurant, cigar lounge. J.C. Newman Cigar Company is announcing that it's restoring the historic Sanchez y Haya Hotel across the street from its El Reloj Cigar Factory. J.C. Newman plans to open a new hotel, restaurant, and cigar lounge in the building in late 2023.
I am actually so excited for this. The El Reloj, their renovation, beautiful. We were lucky to tour. When did we go? April?
May.
Mm-hmm. So in May of this year, beautiful. Beautiful factory, and to have a hotel across the street that also kind of fits, their aesthetic and everything. I'm pumped.
It's very, it's interesting. I mean, most of the factories, in today's market, they're not here. They're in Dominican, Honduras, Nicaragua, wherever, in Costa Rica. There's some, but there's not very many, if at all, in the United States. And the fact that the Newmans have that old factory, El Reloj, right here in Tampa,
where they're doing tours, and they have a museum aspect as well.
And now they're expanding. And this is just one of those things that's very just so interesting and innovative. Is just the fact that they're going to expand and kind of, all right, let's bring in something different. And if I'm not mistaken, they were also the ones who opened the cigar lounge at is it Amalia Arena where the Lightning play?
Yes, I think that's the name of the arena, but definitely at the Lightning Arena.
Yeah, they have a cigar lounge, and so you could go to an NHL hockey game and you can smoke a cigar. Yeah,
Massachusetts needs to get on their page.
And I think it's a Diamond Crown kind of thing, or But yeah, I know Massachusetts. We're lucky we have like 3 cigar shops in Massachusetts. I have to go to New Hampshire to buy my stuff. So
There's like 2 lounges maybe.
yeah, and then there's there's a handful of there's S&A, there's LJ Peretti downtown in Boston that we go to a lot. So, but there's not many else. So, but yeah, it's cool to see stuff like that. So they've been kind of on a roll with like their venues that they have put together between like the renovated factory and the lounge at the arena. And now they're doing a hotel restaurant. Like it's just cool to me.
And they're trying to pose, and as newly engaged people, we had been on their mailing list. They're actually trying to get people to get married at the El Rollo factory, and they offered for us to get married.
Are you guys thinking about it?
I don't think so. I don't think Florida is for us, but it is a beautiful venue, and for someone who's into cigars, like I could actually see it. It's
oh yeah,
beautiful.
I think for those who don't know, Adria over at JC Newman, she's kind of the one in charge of their marketing department. She's awesome. We get to work with her all the time, and she's told us probably like 4 times, like, hey, just saying, it's still open. And I'm like, we'll keep it in mind. It's not really what we were thinking, but it is a cool spot, and I respect it a lot, and I appreciate the invite because it is. If you're a cigar lover, cigar fan, smoker, whatever, that is a really cool place. And there's some photos that they posted on social media of some wedding photos that happened there. And I was like, wow, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because, it's right there by Ybor City. It's such a historic area. Like, their factory is historic within itself. And the renovation was actually, like, it's beautiful. I almost want to, I know it's a cigar factory, but it almost has, like, farmhouse, like, chic vibes, too.
Well, it should, though. I think it kind of fits with, it's the whole theme of, cigars and tobacco, so.
But to have a nice hotel next to it, I feel like is going to be great. And
it's going to be really cool. Yeah, that'll be really cool. Wow. Tampa. Sorry, I'm still getting over a little bit of a cold. I'm just at the end, but that smoke's going to trigger the cough. So bear with me. But yeah, no, Tampa I feel like has been, they got Grand Cathedral just opened. Now the Newmans are kind of expanding their footprint here with this situation. Tampa's really kind of starting to really. They've always been Cigar City, but I feel like it's heating up. Yeah. There's some new stuff going on down there. It's getting fun.
Yeah, they're doing a lot in Tampa, so it's always great to see like more cigar tourism. Like they're creating a destination that people want to go to.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's good for the industry. I know obviously you're with a different brand, but one thing that I always like to bring up is we had some conversations with some people from the industry who were saying as much as like us and the other brands, like we compete at times for shelf space and stuff. We also we got to work together because like this industry's so small, and there's always people coming after us. We also got to stick together too. So seeing all these like different people like doing these different things just to increase the cigar tourism, just the cigar market, it's great to see that it's going up instead of going away. So that always just makes me really happy to see that. But back to the topic at hand. We're with Bradley tonight, which, by the way, I'm going to bring this up now. I brought it up before the show, but now I got to bring it up because it was, I don't know, I just still love it. And you know where I'm going with this too.
I know where you're going.
You got this. Well, you know why? Because I got more out of it than I thought I would. So now I'm like, oh, now I'm going to bring it up on the show. So if you haven't noticed, if you're watching with us, if you're listening, I'll describe it for you. Think the Tom Selleck mustache. And that is what Bradley is rocking right now. And he rocks it really well. And I complimented him on this. But then I got a great story behind where this kind of came from.
I know you did, but I just want to bring it up that he was watching the Friends reunion just before we came on.
What does that have to do with anything that we're doing?
And Tom Selleck was on there.
That's true. That's true. Tom Selleck was on there. That's true. I'll give you that.
So maybe that's...
I'm just happy that you gave me Tom Selleck and you didn't do the like Mario or the Luigi 70s porn star. That's where most people go with it. And they like to poke fun. They don't like to give me like a handsome person, as the reference, but I appreciate that.
There is a guy at work who he's got this red hard hat that he wears, and I believe there was one time he was wearing a red shirt and jeans, not overalls, but I mean close enough. But he has that mustache, and he's got like kind of like this longer, not long, but just like this thicker, curlier hair. And I just remember looking at this kid, and I'm like, oh my god, does he realize that he looks like Super Mario? Like legit, like down to like the colors and the clothes, and I'm like, someone's got to tell him, and I didn't want to be the one to tell him, but
someone has told them. Someone's told them.
I hope so.
Marshall Scott Henry in the audience says Groucho Marx.
Oh, that's an interesting. Groucho Marx.
Gotten that a handful of times.
Okay.
But what's interesting about it though is you told us the reason. There's a specific reason why you wear the mustache, and it had to do with a little bit of romance.
Yeah, my significant other, she had always mentioned that she loved a mustache. So for 5 years, we've been together less time than that. But before we met, I had a beard for 5-6 years, and so she had mentioned that she liked a mustache. So Valentine's Day, day before, I went to the barber, got it all cleaned up and shaved off, and I ended up with this Tom Selleck stash. So it's just stuck ever since. So it's been about 2 years, coming up on 3, right? No, 2 years, coming up on 2 years.
Well, there you go.
It works.
Look at that.
Yeah, and some people tell me it's very fitting. At first I didn't think so, but I've been told it's very fitting for me.
You wear it well. I mean, you have to say, Bradley Rubin. I mean, sharp guy, appearance-wise.
Sharp dresser.
Sharp dresser.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
We've seen him dressed up. He's no slouch. And now we know that he's a romance man. So I mean, you put those three together. I mean, that's a deadly combination.
Can you stop him?
No, he's like a runaway train.
Wow.
I hope she doesn't let you go.
A hype team. This is a hype
Yeah.
team for me.
I hope this is what we do here. We hype people up. You know what I'm saying? I hope that she doesn't let you go because, I mean, she'll be making a mistake. You're going to be fine, but just saying.
I would be a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, that would suck. It might actually ruin the whole thing. So yeah,
Okay.
no, you got a good thing going here. No, it's awesome. So I wanted to give you some applause on that. I like to appreciate when people they take care of themselves.
Yeah. And just to add really quickly also to the end, for whatever reason, like it's very common that a random person in the street will compliment my mustache. Like,
Really?
every day, like got coffee the other day and dude's like, yo, sweet mustache. I'm like, thanks, man. I don't know what, like, I was just like born, like I could just do it. Doesn't mean I did anything to be able to get here. So it's just weird to get a compliment on something that you're just like,
I just cut it this way, and
I
now
can
it's
just
here.
grow facial hair.
I just feel like a lot of people don't rock it anymore, and you pull it off
It's
well. Some people, they don't, the mustache doesn't fit the face. Right?
Yeah, I see where you're going with that, and that's true. I mean, there's definitely more of a beard trend right now. I used to wear just the goatee
Which I did not like.
for many years,
throwing that
and then
out
I
there.
just was like, I want to grow in the whole thing, and I liked it better, and so I've been wearing this now ever since. But not like I couldn't do the mustache, like, like I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I could rock that. There's people who can't. There's people who can't rock facial hair at all. They're more of a clean shaven face,
Or they just can't grow it.
or they just can't grow it. But there's definitely like not a lot of just straight like mustache going around. So I think to see someone do it and pull it off well, it's different right now. Like there was a time when everyone had one, but like now it's become different again, and it's something you can appreciate. It's different. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, without getting too into Bradley's mustache, which I feel like we've already.
The longest segment so far.
Yep.
You know what's funny though? I have to do this. I know. I don't even feel bad about it anymore because he knows I mean it with love. We could spend 20 minutes on your mustache, right, and then do our show and be done, and we still wouldn't spend as much time on it as Cigar Coop would in his 3.5 hours. He would turn it into an hour and 10 minute segment. Now, Bradley, when you groom it, is there a product that you use? Is there a way that you cut it? Do you measure the length? Like, what do you feel about the roots? Like, he would get into it and to be like, it's like a quick like high five, and we move on. So, no, I mean that with love. Coop is awesome. He gets more in depth than I do, and that's fine. It's just We just do it different here. That's all. Anyway, so I'm getting off topic here. I'm really am. So back to Alec Bradley. So you guys. So we saw you guys at PCA. Are you? You said you will be at TPE coming up.
Correct.
Now, do you have anything new that you're preparing to announce or showcase at TPE, or are you kind of more just still kind of working through, getting caught up on stuff? I know that a lot of manufacturers right now are definitely going through some shortages, or they're just backed up on sales, they're back ordered on product,
or boxes,
yep, whatever it is. So kind of like, I guess in a general way, how are you guys kind of meandering through this new boom, so to speak, in the industry?
So we will not be showing anything new at TPE. We are currently working on a few new products, but at the same time, we are still so heavily back ordered. We've been getting a lot of shipments in the past few weeks, couple months, and I think we still have another shipment or two that will be here before the end of the year, which is great, but we're still so backed up, and the demand is just so high that it seems like we'll never catch up. But we are working on a few new things. Two of them I cannot talk about. One is an annual release that is a little bit delayed, which would be the Fine and Rare. That will be coming at the beginning of 2022, but no exact date on when that will be dropping just yet.
Now, while we're kind of on this topic, there was a news story that kind of came out earlier this year. I want to say it was the spring, that you guys actually had lost a lot of your tobacco in your curing barns because several of your curing barns had caught on fire. Tell me a little. How did that start? How did that?
I think they said it was like an electrical fire. I
See,
don't.
They always blame the electrical, and it's never the case. They always do that. Yeah, I know. They always. Yeah, I love telling people too. Like they always blame us. It's not our fault.
Matt is an electrician, so he takes this to heart.
I do. It's always house fire, cause electrical. It's like really, it wasn't that dryer that you should have replaced 20 years ago that caught on fire because you don't clean the lint trap. Oh, it's electrical. Come on. Yeah. All of a sudden the outlets decided to burn. I'm sorry. Continue.
I touched a sore spot right there. Yeah. So I don't know how exactly the fire started, but yeah, we had a couple curing barns catch on fire. Burned down, lost all the tobacco in there, but luckily, because we all planned so far in advance that's production for years in advance, and we built the curing barns back up quickly, got more tobacco in there, so it's just a little hiccup for production in the future, but we could always acquire that tobacco, purchase it, and we won't really see any sort of nothing that's going to affect. People always thought, Alec Bradley prices are to be going up. I saw a lot of comments about that.
Right.
None of that's going to happen. You'll barely see production, be affected by these fires. So it's unfortunate, but no one's going to see any issues from us.
I think what's really interesting. Excuse me. I think what's really interesting is the fact that. Because you are not the first person this has happened to, obviously. So it's amazing though that you guys can kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of pivot on this like really easily. Devastating as it is, and it's no one ever wants this to happen, and it's obviously a mess and all that. But like you said, you guys were able to get your curing barns back up, get back, just kind of keep on rolling, and only have it be a minor hiccup in the future, which is great. I mean, that's, I guess, the best you could hope for in that situation. But I'm sure that's no easy task either. And the fact that, you and other manufacturers and growers or farmers or whoever are able to, take something like that and kind of pivot and get the ball rolling quickly to kind of get yourself going again. It's really, it's remarkable and it's admirable, I guess, is what I'm looking for. Because you're right. And especially in a time where a lot of the manufacturers, and obviously you could speak to this too, I mean, are so backed up, and there's a lot of back orders, and there's, especially last year, the sales just went even through the roof. Carney was what was Carney saying? He always said, like, congratulations to the consumers because you were able to outsmoke the manufacturers. I believe is like how he said it. He's like, yeah, congratulations, you guys have outsmoked us. We can't. We're struggling just to keep up with the demand right now. But yeah, so when you have something like that happen, when you're already kind of set back and you're able to just pivot and be like, all right, well, let's just clean this up and get back right on track. It's awesome. And I really got to applaud you guys for that, because that's definitely no small task. So tell me a little bit more about, I know you guys have done some, I want to touch on this. You guys have done some micro releases with some people. I know you guys recently, we were just talking about, you guys did the Dojo Chico.
Yeah.
That was really cool. It was really interesting. We didn't get to try those cigars, but I thought it was very cool and interesting. But what I didn't know is that you did say you eventually did get a cease and desist from Coca-Cola.
Yes.
I was wondering if that was going to happen.
My first ever, and everyone was actually kind of excited about it. Like, we're all like, that's kind of awesome that they noticed us. And then one person in the office was like, I knew we shouldn't have done this. And I'm like,
there's always one.
We're all sold out. You don't have to worry about it. Like, they were actually like kind of nice about it in the email. They were like, we really appreciate your love for our brand, but please don't do this anymore. And like, it was actually kind of nice the way that they said it. And they're like, just send us an email saying that you're not going to do it again, and we're not going to bother you anymore. So we did just that, and it was fine. And I think it's cool that people notice our small, tiny industry on for a brand that's just huge, owned by Coca-Cola. Like, it's nuts.
You must have known it was gonna come, though, right? Like,
yeah. Well, so we were at we did it for Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival with Cigar Dojo, and I think it was Jack Tarano and maybe someone else was like, "Hey, are you worried about a C&D?" And I'm like, not if we sell out. Like, and we made about 820-ish bundles. I think we sold at the Cigar Dojo party before it like 200, and then another 400 at the Rocky Mountain, and then the balance was put all on their website, and then we sold out in a day. So was I a little bit worried after Rocky Mountain? Yes. But once it went up on their website a week later and we sold out, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I guess they're not going to notice anything. And then a couple weeks later, then they sent it. And I was just like, hey, man, like, it's all gone. You don't have to worry about it. It'll never be made again. It's a one and done. So, and they were fine with it. And it's cool to be noticed. Like, I was a little bit worried, yeah, because, like, then I got to explain to our vice president and my father why we're getting a cease and desist by Coca-Cola.
Yeah, that's a pretty big company.
They would bury us.
Oh, so, yeah. That's, I think they own the trademark on their red color.
They do.
The
actual color blend.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
The Coca-Cola red. Yeah, that's not a company you want to fuck with.
No, I'll pass.
They have some good stuff, but yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with them.
They have some good stuff. Love it.
So I'm smoking the Corojo from the trilogy, and I really like this cigar. And you know what I really pick up on this? I'm like kind of getting in between like the end of the first third, kind of the beginning of the second third. I'm getting like a buttery, like movie theater popcorn.
Interesting.
It's such a distinct, like, it's crazy. Like, it's just, that's what popped in, and it's so good. It's very savory. It's such a great flavor. I know people have given some crazier, like, flavor notes, like Chinese pea pods or whatever, I think was said one time. I can't really follow that. But, yeah, but the buttery, like, not the stuff you make at home. When you go to the movie theater and you get it from them when they douse it with that artificial butter, that. It's very good.
So can I ask you guys, a lot of people, like, when they see that there's a triangle cigar, they're like, oh, that seems like it would be weird, like, as like a mouth feel. Do you guys find that the triangle press is weird while smoking at all, or not? You don't really notice it very much?
I don't really notice it that much. What I did notice, being fully transparent, the very beginning on the foot, it was drawing kind of a little tight. Mm-hmm. But then once I got like a half-inch in, then it just opened right up.
Okay.
Other than that, it smokes great. It doesn't feel weird. You know what? It kind of reminds me of like the Yagua, because it's got that like that odd press to it because of the wet mold. So it kind of reminds me of that, and I smoked a few of those recently, so it's not really throwing me too off. But no, I mean it sits right. It's not too crazy.
Yeah, I feel like these ones might have expanded a little bit just because they weren't in that box, in the box that they came in.
They
but
came in the bundle.
no, they're fine. And this one wasn't tight at all.
Yeah, and it's almost like a soft triangle too. It's not like it's very like hard corner.
Correct.
Yeah, so no, I would say it's a comfortable smoke still.
Awesome.
What do you think about your cigar?
It's great. I taste a little bit of salt on
Really,
mine.
salt? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
but it's good.
interesting.
It's smooth though, and I like that. Not a lot of pepper on the tongue.
Yeah, this is also really smooth too. I really like this. This is wow. It's like really hitting me now. Like the flavor on this cigar, it's great. I really love this.
This one's giving me that tongue flavor.
Yeah.
Just like when you can feel your tongue. I don't know.
Okay. I thought you were saying it tastes like tongue. Like if you were to go to
no.
if you were to go to a Jewish deli and order cow tongue, like that.
Oh yeah.
No. When I eat weird stuff, but I don't eat that.
You don't eat tongue?
Don't eat tongue. I've eaten like alligator, and I lived in England. I like my blood pudding and stuff like that. But Franklin in the audience had mentioned that it has a great mouthfeel, and that's kind of what I'm describing, what I'm feeling.
Yeah, trilogy for the win. Nico Puro diamond cut. Great mouthfeel.
So that's actually how the diamond cuts that we do came to be, was because we had made the triangle. We kind of took the triangle presses and like put them together to make the diamond. That's how that started. So originally it was always the Nicopuro, and then the past 2 years have been the black market Esteli diamonds. So those have been big successes for us in moving from the Nicopuro to the black market Esteli.
No, it's such an interesting shape too. I mean, a lot of manufacturers are always playing around with, different, figurados, so to speak, is like the blanket term for a non-traditional vitola. Like LFD's got the Chisel, which I believe they hold a patent on, and they're the only people that have a patent on a shape.
Correct.
But I don't think, has anyone else done a triangular pressed cigar?
No. So we're the only ones to ever do it. My father actually created the first mold for it. He went to Home Depot, asked about some saw that cuts on angles, and he asked them to cut it for him, and he took it home and put it all together and basically just put a wet cigar in there to see if it would work, and it worked. So then he finally created this line, and he's the first one to ever do it, and it was a big push for me, Alec, everyone here to be like, can we please make the cigar again? And he originally didn't want to do it because he's like, it was discontinued for a reason. Like, I just don't know about bringing it back. So we said, let's make it a limited edition. And it also takes a long time to press. Like, I think it has to stay in the press for about 2 to 3 weeks just to make sure the shape stays in the triangle. So it does take a lot of time to make this cigar.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's truly unique, and anytime you go through manufacturing process or anything like that, it's definitely a little more challenging. From talking to other people, who've done, oddly shaped stuff, it's definitely a little bit more involved, especially when you're trying to go for a specific shape and design, and to get to the cigar to come out that way in the end. It's really a work of art. Cigar making is an art form. It's not easy.
No.
I always like watching the videos, like when reps or like just people go down to the factories and they learn how to roll, and you see them try to do it, and they're like, oh, this is easy. I can just like roll. and you see them like, I can't, like, the wrapper is still, it's got a wrinkle in it. Like, I can't get it tight, and then they rip it, and it's like, how do you do this? Not so easy, is it?
No, not at all. Alec actually has mine in his first cigar that we ever tried to roll. And
oh, really?
The last cigar that we ever tried to roll, which is the same one.
Oh, so you tried it once, and then you were like, I'm done.
We tried it once, and like, we definitely cannot do this, and no matter how many times we go to the factory, we cannot do this.
Can your dad roll a cigar?
I don't
Like
think so.
well enough?
He could probably roll a decent one. I've never seen him do it, but I wouldn't be surprised that he could do it.
His whiskey's good.
It is.
Did we talk about that yet?
No.
We're drinking the Horse Soldier Small Batch, which is great stuff. We haven't drank this in a while.
It's whiskey season, though, so
It
you have
is.
to
It's whiskey
It
get
is.
season.
into it.
It is. It's always whiskey season.
We do tequila season in the summer.
Oh,
Summer
wow.
is tequila summer
Yep.
for us, and then we go back to once like October hits, and we go back into the whiskey for the next 6 or 7 months.
Wow.
Yeah, no. So it's tequila's. And I got to credit Kirk Kendall with that because he kind of got me into tequila. A little bit of influence there. Anyone who's ever been to his shop, he's got great whiskeys. He's got great tequilas. Got some good rums too. Just crazy stuff. His selection is just amazing. So, just hanging out there, I picked up on some stuff, and then I kind of got into tequila, and that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, it is whiskey season. And you said you're drinking High West Rye over there?
I think so. It's in a decanter, so I don't remember what the bottle is. But I know it's High West. I know it's a rye, but I don't know which rye it is. But it's good.
Yeah, High West makes some good stuff too.
Yeah.
We've enjoyed some of the High West stuff. I hear a lot of people talking right now about the Midwinter Nights Dram.
Yep.
I don't like that bottle.
Really?
At all.
So many people go crazy for it.
It burns my throat, and it seems like I tried. I'm like, this must be like 150 proof, but it's like a 90 or 100, and I don't know. Everyone loves it. Everyone I've talked to, they love that bottle, but I just can't drink it.
Well, I think I'm gonna roll this right into our top 3 segment because I think I got a new top 3 that I'm gonna run with now. Our top 3 segment is brought to you once again by Room 101 Cigars. It's more than just a cigar brand; it's a lifestyle. Sorry, I thought I was gonna cough there. It's horrible.
The anticipation is killing me.
I know this cough has just been almost deathly. Room 101 is more than just a cigar brand; it's a lifestyle. Head over to room101brands.com. You can check out all the cool stuff that they have going on between jewelry and apparel. While you're at it, check out their cigars. And even if you don't like gin, try their gin. Because I'll tell you, I don't like gin, and I love their gin.
It's great.
It's great. It's really refreshing. So tasty. Mix it with a Topo Chico. Get yourself a Boofy Chico. As it's unofficially called. Or Room 101 Negroni. Always delicious and always delightful.
Love it.
Yeah, it's
I love Room 101 with the Negroni. It's so good.
I found it at the trade show because we don't have it around here, and we were at the booth, and I asked Matt, I'm like, because they had some at the bottom. I'm like, do you have anything open? And he was like, we might have like something. And then I went over and I talked to one of the other guys, and he's like, yeah, we got an open bottle. And I was like, well, we're not supposed to be serving it, so
No.
I'm gonna put it in this cup. And I'm going to leave it here. And I'm going to walk away. And I was like, okay. And I just kind of meandered for a minute. And then I'm like, oh, look at this cup here. This is the water.
It was like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, 10 o'clock in the morning in Las Vegas on like day 2. And I was just like, all right. I'm like, I'm not really a gin guy, but I got to try it. And I just remember taking that first sip. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, that's great. And then they all looked at me like, right? And I'm like, dude, what is that?
Well, because when you think gin, I think like Bombay, the blue, like
yeah, Tanqueray, like the London Dry Gin, yeah.
Yeah. But this is great.
It's very refreshing.
Smooth.
It's very smooth. If you're a gin drinker, I think you'll still like it. If you're not a gin drinker, I encourage you to try it anyway because it's so good. It's delicious. But anyway, our top 3 segment. So for you. We've already used this one before, but I'm going to use it with you because I think that you'll give us some interesting options. Top 3 favorite whiskeys.
Okay. Top 3 favorite.
I got to put you in the hot seat.
Yeah, top 3 favorite whiskeys. So my easy go-to all the time, and I think it never misses, is Buffalo Trace. Just regular Buffalo Trace is amazing. Very affordable. You can find it in most places, not in South Florida, but you can find it in most places. And this is no particular order. So I hate to put like also like special stuff in there, like limited edition or hard to find, but this is top. This is top 3.
Do it. I did it the first time we ran it.
So and let me preface this with that my brother and my father are heavy. We all are, but heavy into the bourbon life and getting the limited edition and the hard to find. So I benefit from them looking for everything and getting everything. Alec is so obsessed with it that he can get you any bottle anytime. So
I'll even tell you to make you feel better. When I tell people my top 3 favorite whiskeys, I even get specific down to the batch. So when I tell you my favorite is George T. Stagg, I love George T. Stagg, but I'll tell you that my favorite George T. Stagg was the 2019 116.9 proof batch.
Okay.
That was the best batch.
You make me feel better because I felt a little like, okay, I'm going to name certain bottles that are just like impossible to find. So the bottle, and I have a hard time saving bottles. I like to just drink through everything, but I still have a little bit left. It's Blanton's straight from the barrel.
Oh, yes.
So it's 130 proof Blanton's.
The brown label.
It's got it's like a little bit brown to it.
Yeah.
Got like, I think it like on the packaging it's like it's in euros. It's not even, it's
not sold here.
Yeah.
So that might be my number 1 ever. And then I don't know that it's definitely my top 3, but I think so, is the Joseph Magnus cigar malt or cigar blend, I think it's called. Is
really
absolutely unbelievable.
I don't think I've had Joseph Magnus. Have you had it?
No.
I've seen it, and I just haven't had like that opportunity to just grab it and try it. But wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Joseph Magnus.
Yeah.
That's not one that I usually hear a lot of.
And then I'm going to throw an honorary because I'm just remembering about it now.
Yeah.
Is the Barrel Bourbon 15-year is outstanding.
I've heard a lot of good things about Barrel too. I haven't tried it myself, but
recommend.
You know what else I see a lot of popping up now that I've been meaning to grab is it Stellam? Is that what it is? Or Stellam? It's in it's in almost like the Pappy shaped bottle. It's got a blue label. I only started seeing it pop up in our area like in the last year. I'd never really seen it before. I don't know if it's a new brand or if we're just getting it, but
could be a New England thing.
it seems to be really popular in our local whiskey groups that that I'm a part of. So I have to try that one too. But that's a very interesting list.
It's
interesting to hear who gets what. Like, we don't get Weller. We don't get Weller down here at all. I don't know if you guys do.
We get a little bit. You got to really claw for it.
And then you also have to hoard it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to.
Who has like 10 bottles?
10 bottles of what? Of which
I got like 8 bottles of Special Reserve. I got a couple of 107s. I got like 10 bottles of Stag Junior.
He literally is afraid that he's gonna run out. So
I just buy it.
Yeah, and then he has me doing it. So he'll be like, "Oh, the whiskey group said this. Like, can you run to this liquor store? I'm working."
Absolutely.
Can you go get
Absolutely. If it's during the day and she has the day off, I'm like, "Can you go to the Wegmans in Burlington? They got Weller Full Proof on the shelf. Store pick. Go now."
Oh, I get Nicole. I get the same thing. Alex will be out of town, and he's like, "Okay, you're gonna go to this Winn-Dixie on this day. She's gonna have a bottle of Pappy for you for $100." And I'm like, "You're joking. You're joking." And I'm like, "If I buy it, I'm getting it. Like, you're not there. If I'm paying with it on my card, that's mine." And he's, no. I'll give you some. I'm like, "Okay, you'll give me some." And then he was out of town. He didn't tell me to go, so I didn't go. And then he went out of town again, and he's like, "Okay, you're gonna get the call this week." I'm like, "All right, I'm ready. I'm ready for when it comes. I'll do it. I'll even leave work to go." Didn't get the call again. And then I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on with the Pappy?" And he's like, "They haven't called me yet." So I gave him back his card. He did give me his card. Mm-hmm. And then he gets the call for the Pappy. So he knows when it's coming. He's got the hookups, and I do benefit from it fairly often. So if you are ever in the hunt for certain things, he's got the hookups.
Well, I will say that because I wear this ring, I have the hookup because half of everything is mine.
There we go, Nicole. There we go.
Wow,
I know
well
what
played.
it's like.
Well played.
So it works.
Well, since you mentioned Pappy, so have you had all of the Pappies?
No.
Which ones
No.
have you had?
I think I've had. I'm really bad at remembering the Pappies. I think I've had 12. The Lot B, right? That's
Yeah,
one.
that's my favorite.
I think I've had both of those. I don't know that I've had anything. I may have. I don't. I'm.
I
really
mean,
bad
it's
at-
hard. It's so
Definitely-
hard to find.
I haven't
Like-
had the top 3, but I had the old Rip 10. It was okay. It didn't really wow me. I kind of prefer
But then we tried the Lot B, which
the
is
Lot.
amazing.
The Lot B was great.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite. I mean, that's so far. I mean, that one's. That's just such a smooth whiskey that you could just, regardless of like the name on the bottle, right? It's not even just that it's Pappy. It's out of every whiskey. It is a nice, like cherry, flavorful but smooth. It's 90 proof. It doesn't hit you in the face. It's nice. It's a really nice whiskey. I really enjoy that one. I think I have like 2 bottles of that. I'm
Jeez.
trying to maybe
Acquire
open.
more.
Well, I always want to acquire more, but I think I'm gonna open one of them soon. Maybe we'll see, and just start to really enjoy that because it's great. And there's a local barbecue place around us that we have, and they have an awesome whiskey, and they have it all. And every time we go, I'm always like, I gotta treat myself because they have it on the bar, and most places don't. And I'll either get like a Lot B if they have it, or
Well, and that's the thing too. Some of these bottles are so expensive that I feel like you have to try it if you can get your hands on it first to see if it's worth the chase, right?
oh yeah, that's very
Oh.
true.
So
For sure. Yeah, and another bottle I have to mention that Alec got me for my birthday is, and I'm sure you'll know this term, a dusty turkey. He got me an old wild turkey that was like bottled around the time I was born.
Wow.
And it's insane.
Some of
it's
those like
absolutely
antique wild
insane.
turkeys are like really collectible right now because I've been seeing them pop up more and more. So it's interesting you say that. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
It's very, very crazy.
And now, I mean, there's bottles that I've come in to acquire that I hadn't had, but I knew like I need to get this because I know what it is. And so before I open the bottle, I'll wait and I'll find a bar that has it or something, and I'll try it. And if I don't like it, I'll trade it away because I'd rather trade it for something I do want than just keep something that I'm like, well, it's rare, but I'm going to drink it because it's special. I don't care about that. I'd rather enjoy it. So that's what I did like with the old Rip 10.
the Weller Foolproof,
The Weller, no,
the blue.
Well, yeah. I mean, I opened one of them, but
Yeah,
I
but
was
we didn't
actually
like
I was
it.
actually able to trade the open bottle to a friend though, because it was someone I knew. He's like, well, I'll take it, and I'll give you something for it. And I was like, okay. But then the other 2 I ended up trading for something else, and then the old Rip 10 I got one, because I got lucky and I found one. And I was like, oh, I'll take it, and it wasn't like highly priced, and I was like, I'll take it because I knew what it was, and I waited and I tried it, and then I was like, it didn't really wow me, and I traded that for something better too. So, that's part of the whole bourbon thing. You
game.
know what I mean? It's all
It
like the
is.
trading and like some people. If you're
Oh.
not in it, you're like these people are crazy, and it's like, but if you like bourbon, like you get it. It's always fun to talk to a fellow bourbon guy, especially someone who knows the whole like you need to go here and get this
Now, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let me
He
put
knows the
pants on.
struggle. He knows the struggle.
There's someone in the cigar industry that has like a string of like the whiskey people, the bourbon people that will like he travels all around and services like liquor stores or whatever, and he'll text everyone and being like, who wants this, like who
Oh, wow.
wants this bottle and who wants that bottle. So every once in a while I get a text being like, hey, do you want this? And I'm like he asked about if I wanted what's it called, 4-gate, and I was like,
I
it's
don't know
like
that
a
one.
200, I think it's like $180-$200 bottle, and I was like, no, like I'll pass on it. So every once in a while he'll hit us up and be like, who wants what, which is nice. Like it's nice to have those connections, but Alec has all those connections, so like if I want something, like I just go to Alec.
It's
He's
funny.
right.
It's fun too because like when you go into a liquor store and they know too because they get asked all the time and they hate it. So you have to like play it cool, and like when you find something that's like cool, you can't get like too excited. Like, oh yeah, I'll take that. You have to be like there's one time I walked into Total Wine, the worst one, the worst place, They
Worse.
hate the bourbon people with a passion. You walk in there and you're like, oh, hey. And you always play the game. I always get a cart. I put some wines, some regular whiskey in there. I don't make it look like I'm just here to just skim off the top. And I have some, and then I wait and I go to the guy with my shopping cart full of regular stuff, and I go, oh, hey, I was looking at some wine. Oh, yeah. By the way, do you guys happen to have any Weller or any Buffalo Trace stuff hanging around? And then, like, once in a while, you get the, yeah, I think we got something. Let me go take a look in the room. Oh, okay. And there was, like, this one time the guy went back there, and he comes out, and he was like, I got this, like, Stag Junior. And I went, oh, yeah, I'll try that. That sounds interesting. And I just remember being like, fuck, yeah. Easy grab. $54.99.
And then if he's really lucky, I'll be around the corner, and I'll go back up to that sales associate and be like, you just got it for him. Like, do you have another one?
Well, no, sometimes I'll make her wait in the car. I'll be like, you stay here. And she'll be like, well, I'm like, you stay here. And I'll go in. And if I come out with the brown bag, she knows. And then I'm like, now you go in. And then she'll be like, do you guys have any Weller 107? And then she comes out with the bag. And I'm like, oh, yeah, look at that.
Wow. You guys do it right.
Sneak
That's
attack.
right. Yeah, you got to tag team it, but you can't let them see that you have a teammate. You got to pretend like, I don't know who that lady is over there. She's not
So
my
you
style.
guys take off your hats before you.
Yeah, our
walk in.
matching
Oh,
attire.
yeah, absolutely. We make it look like we don't know each other, and I'm like, ugh, who's that girl?
Thanks,
and
babe.
then we get outside and we're like, yes, we cleaned them out. We got 2.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's fun. No, it's fun to talk about it because not everyone's into it, so it's always refreshing.
It is.
No, this is we're getting towards the end of the show. This has been a fun conversation. We've had a blast tonight. But before we let you go, I just wanted to. I know you said you guys aren't really working on anything new that you're ready to announce, but is there anything that you want to promote while we're on the show before we wrap up?
Definitely the trilogy. The trilogy is shipping right now. 2,000 boxes of each wrapper is what's being made. But they've been coming in segments. So we got the first segment, we got the second segment, and now we're waiting for the rest, which should be hidden before the end of the year. But they currently are shipping out. So if you have any questions about where they are, where you can find them around you, please reach out to us on social media. Instagram, Alec Bradley Cigar, Facebook, Alec Bradley, Twitter, Alec Bradley. Please reach out to us, and we can find you a retailer that has them.
Absolutely. Well said. I forgot, Nicole, we do have a giveaway to give away tonight.
Yes. So for all of those who are waiting, so we are doing 4 weeks of giveaways. This week is the first week, and we are giving away a 10-pack of the Camacho Factory Unleashed. And the winner of tonight is Brendan Zubek on Instagram. So if you're watching, Brendan, you are the winner. If not, I will notify you. But we are also giving away next week a box of McAuliffe, the week after that a box of LFD, and then the last week of the month we are giving away, we're calling it our From the Vault bundle, and it's over, at this point it's over 40 cigars from our personal humidor, variety of brands, great brands, and all you have to do is go to the website and enter.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Head to SmokinTabacco.com, sign up for the newsletter.
Yep.
Make sure you follow us on social media. Keep an eye out for our posts. We'll be posting about it on social media, so you can get all the information. You can get involved, and get entered into the giveaway and have a chance to win.
And then just to talk about guests for next week, so we have Glenn Loop and Joshua Habursky from PCA coming on.
Very good show.
The week after, we have Oliver Nouveau from United. And then to wrap up the month, we have Abe DeBobna coming on.
Big
as
Delicious.
Well. Big Delicious.
So excited to have Abe on. It's going to be a great time. So that'll round out our December guests. We really kind of, this year has flown by. We've been so busy and doing so many things in both with this and Smokin Tabacco, but also in our personal lives too. So I just can't even believe we're already at the end of the year. It's crazy. I mean, it feels like it wasn't that long ago we were at PCA together, and then before that, it was a few months before that we were all over Florida. I mean, we were in Miami, Boynton Beach, Delray, Tampa, Orlando. We were down there for 8 or 9 days. It was crazy.
Yep.
Just driving around with John Carney, eating great food, smoking a lot of cigars. We had that road trip from Boynton to Orlando, that 3-hour drive. We had a great time. I think Nicole slept most of the way, but John and I had a lot of fun in the front seat. We went to Popeyes.
I remember because I woke up and you guys just had a bunch of chicken.
Demolished. We demolished like 10 pounds of chicken on that drive to Orlando. I just remember Connie's like, "You want to go to Popeyes?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." It was great. We had a great time. So no, I mean the year was just—it's been crazy. It's been fun. Coming out of COVID, getting back out into the world was kind of it was weird at first, but it's awesome. We stayed busy. But 2022 is going to be even busier, even bigger, even crazier. So keep an eye out. We will be at TPE, as will Alec Bradley, and Bradley himself will be there. So if you are heading to TPE, you can look forward to seeing all of us there. Other than that, I think that's it. That's all I got for tonight. I'm going to wrap up with that. And we'll see you guys next week. Bradley, stay with us, but we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Bye, everyone.